Another busy day on Capitol Hill. The fallout from James Comey's dismissal continues. Acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe testifying before Congress on U.S. security and sitting in for his boss, who was on the witness list. Here now is Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa. He is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. We know that Andrew McCabe is being considered as Comey's possible replacement. What are your thoughts on that?
I have raised questions about whether or not he's independent enough to be involved in some of the negotiations that are going on because of political conflict, of his wife getting, I think, close to $700,000 from McCabe, who was very close to the Clintons, and being involved in these negotiations. I asked for judgment about the independence. I didn't really get a very good answer, except they came back and said there was no conflict of interest. That does not satisfy me.
Of course, there are reports that former FBI Director James Comey was asking for more resources to more deeply investigate the Russian hacking, and that's why he was fired. What do you think about that? Do you have any insight?
I thought either late yesterday or sometime earlier today, I heard reports that that was not correct, and that it came from the high level within the Justice Department that that was not true, or maybe even high up in the FBI that that wasn't true, because they just don't operate that way.
Yeah. One of the other members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Mike Lee, said that former President Obama's Supreme Court pick, Merrick Garland, might be a good choice to head the FBI. What do you think of that?
Well, I know Merrick Garland as a very good judge. You might be asking me because I held up his nomination to the Supreme Court last year so people could have a voice through the election. I have nothing personally against Garland, but I've reserved judgment on who I might give opinions on, and I've told other press people this, because I want to see a list that's kind of a final list if people want my judgment of who I think should fill that void. That's not to disparage in any way Garland's ability to do that. I just want to be a reserved judgment.
Yeah. President Trump has said that, you know, he was repeatedly reassured that he wasn't a target of the investigation. Have you heard anything to contradict that? What
I said in remarks that I made before the Judiciary Committee today, based upon a secured briefing, I should say, that we had with Comey, Feinstein, and I had, that I heard nothing in that briefing that contradicts what the president said. But I don't know the validity of what the president said. Some people have even raised the question with me, was it proper for the president to ask the question? I think it's not a question, was it proper for the president to ask the question? Is it proper for the person that responded to have responded? And I guess I'd have to assume, if there was such a response, that Comey knew what he was doing.
Democrats are demanding a special counsel, or they even say a special prosecutor. Not sure if that's appropriate in this case, but what do you think?
At this point, no. And if there was supposed to be a special prosecutor, Rosenstein has the authority to do that, and so he's in charge of the FBI. Then he'd be the best person to make that. I come from it this standpoint, that if you go back to January, when the questions were raised about Russian involvement with Flynn and with the Trump campaign and with the last election, although there's been just accusations, no proof whatsoever, but we wanted to get to the bottom of it so that we could substantiate very well the institutions of government and people have confidence in our election process. So when you have a special prosecutor investigating something, unless there's an indictment, nothing is made public. There's no report. So then consequently, don't we want this information to get out to the public? Well, let's continue between the committees of Congress that are investigating it now, and there's great bipartisan support to do that.